Attention, please. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome.
Ahoy, friends. It's me, Dave Landau. After a long night on stage, I like to kick back with a captain's hat and a fine cigar and watch the Dennis and Andy show. These guys are huge nerds, but they're the kind that you actually want to hang out with. Enjoy them. I do.
What is up, everybody? It is the Dennis and Andy show on this fantastic Wednesday afternoon, 3:30 p.m. You know where you need to be, and that is right here for the DNA show. We've got a guest today, Mr. Darin Wagner. We're going to be talking about his project, Demi-Foot, which we found out actually takes place in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it does.
So Dennis is already excited about that, and we found out that's the neck of the woods he's from. So Dennis is super because he now knows somebody else from that state.
Yes, because there's apparently only 4 of us that you think of Andy.
Well, in the towns that you live in.
Oh.
Not the whole state.
Oh.
The whole state is populated except for like...
It's not like we're from Slab City or...
Oh, now you're making names up.
Yeah.
Slab City. Is that where CGC is
Nope,
located?
It really is. It really is a town. Slab City.
Is that right. Where the Flintstones are from?
Neopit.
Next to Bedrock is Slab
There's
City.
another one. I think Andy needs to get out of his cocoon and travel to Wisconsin. To
hey,
see some
I told you.
towns.
I told you. Anytime you want to take a road trip to go to Packerville, I'm down.
Oh, you mean Lambeau Field?
Yes, as long as you're driving. Because you're an owner. So I'll go because you're an owner.
I am a shareholder, as are most of us. And we will say that it is now 100% official for all you Bear fans. And I know there's a number of you in the chat. Welcome to Indiana. My wife and I stayed in Hammond. So we've already stayed at the now-to-be home of the Chicago Bears. The Bears still suck.
Look at that. So this past weekend was Heroes Con. Some of us put the work in and were there all 3 days. And some of us were part-timers for half a day. And
half a day. I went a full day.
I meant how long you were at the table. Half a day.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even there that long. Maybe an hour.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah. Hey, family comes first. Graduation. It was hot as Hades. That's right. Hell decided to visit Charlotte that day, setting record temperatures out in the sun. I really felt bad for the graduates because they were in black robes standing out in that sweltering.
They just went all natural underneath the robes.
Who said they didn't? We don't.
There's no graduation I want to go to.
There is no way to tell because they're still wearing the robes. But
big gust of wind.
It was a big success. It was a great time, and congratulations to my niece Josephine, who joined us for our first movie review, where she joined us for Disclosure Day. You can check both of our channels and watch the official reviews. So you get 3 opinions instead of just 2 this time.
That's right. But like in everything else, the 2 opinions that count are the men. I mean, Dennis and I, because it's our show. That's what I meant to say. Why do you tell me these jokes?
There you go.
I need to pre-read all this stuff when you give it to me to say.
And hint, we liked it better than Andy did.
Oh, don't waste your time. 2.5 hours, you'll never get back. So we didn't do a video like we usually do after a Comic-Con where it's what did the boys get, because Dennis didn't get anything, but I did.
Well, you can't say that. I didn't bring anything. I did visit. We had John Rose, Mr. Snuffy Smith himself.
1 book.
I picked up his new book and stuff, and he addressed it to my wife, Susie, which was great. And then I did pick up from Jake the Barbarian book because we were trying to get them hooked up on the show and it didn't work out.
Carnival the
yep,
Barbarian.
Yep, that was a great book, and we did get something from Brandon Reese, who we met at the Raleigh show. This was a cute little fun read. Kudos, Brandon. I did read it. And then I picked up Rich Stocky. He did a variant Vampirella cover, which was an exclusive store variant. So I did snag that from Mr. Rich. Thanks, Rich. And I know you'll probably hop on and see this.
So that was the part of the show we like to call Tell. Now I'm going to do the show and tell.
That's
the show with what I got. And we'll go through it pretty quick. I got Ultraman, Dark Horse, 50 cents. Thank you very much. It's 1 of 10. I'm fine with number 1. The reason I got it is because it's drawn by one of my favorite Korean artists, Koo Fook Lung, who did Solar Lord. So that's why I got it. And I like
Solar Lord.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I recognize it.
Yeah. He did all 7 issues of Solar Lord from Image, and he drew this. And I'm sure he probably did all 10 issues. I'm good with just one of them. I don't know. Maybe I'll want the rest after I read it. But so I got that. I got a Batman I was looking for and I needed by Don Newton. I thought I had all the Don Newtons. Apparently I was missing one. This is $4.98. So not everything was $1.50. This bad boy was a little more than that.
$1 million.
I had a couple issues of the Hulk I needed. This one specific issue, 420 by Gary Frank. The reason I wanted it, inked by Joe Rubinstein. Joe has very great inking style and really brings it out in other people's work and stuff. You can still see Gary in it, but that's why I got that. And then, of course, Dale Keown's very first issue of the Hulk, $3.69. I believe that's correct. Yep.
Wow, that was in the dollar bin?
No. These weren't. No.
Oh, still, that's not bad. Actually, cheaper than what I thought it was.
Well, I got a deal too from Mario. This is from Mario.
Oh,
I bought a few things from our friend Mario, and he gave me a deal. Basically, I got 1 out of the 3 books for free. Marie Severin inked this. You can still tell, not the cover, but the insides. You can still tell it's Dale Keown, but I just wanted it because it's his first issue of the Hulk. This was just kind of fun. I like collecting work from artists I like, some of their first work. Flash Eclipso Annual by Travis Sherrist. Right there, some of his very first work. Big fat 56 pages by Travis. That was cheap. A couple issues of Justice League here. 127. Green Lantern's getting beat up by Superman. Had to get it. That was 50 cents or $1. This is issue 88. Nice Neil Adams cover. Justice League, good stuff. This was also $1. Now, if it was in mint condition or higher grade, this is a book you would see on people's back walls. But for $1, and I don't have it, I got it. Superman and Shazam fighting Black Adam. It's a key issue because it's the first time those two guys go against Black Adam in the DC universe.
Who wins?
I don't know. I haven't read it yet.
Oh,
no spoilers. This was also, I think, $1. Brave and the Bold, 82. Neil Adams art. Aquaman and Batman. Already got a reprint, but for $1, hell yeah. Finished off my Jack Kirby Captain Americas that are in the 190s when he came back to the book. Only needed 2 issues, 194 and 195. Oh, hell yeah. Haven't looked at those yet. I've got all this stuff in trade, but I wanted the actual issues. Nova number 12. I have issue 1, and I think I've got another one in the run. The reason I wanted... You have the whole Nova.
I got the whole run. It is a great run, and it's affordable. So if you like it, it is worth going back and picking up the entire run.
The reason I wanted this one, for artists out there that read How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, this is the cover that John Buscema showed the process steps from How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Oh,
and I was like, that's why I wanted this, because I would when I got the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way came out, well, I didn't get it when it came out. I got it in the early 80s. I remember seeing that and thinking, oh, I wonder if that's a real cover. And I've known for years it was, but I've just always forgotten about it when I go to shows. So finally got it. Another Brave and the Bold, 174, Batman and Green Lantern, Jim Aparo on art. Now I have all the Brave and the Bolds featuring Green Lantern and Batman. I was missing one. And then, let's see. Another artist work I like. It's not his first Marvel work, but his first issue of Spider-Man. Mark Bagley, his first issue of Spider-Man, first Marvel cover. Want to get it, and I got it. That was Mario too.
Mario, I didn't get to see Mario. I didn't see any of the vendors. I did not have time on Saturday. I'm really bummed.
Another Brave and Bold. This is issue 102. It is Batman Teen Titans. I have a coverless copy of this. I wanted a complete copy. This is cool because Jim Aparo starts the story and Neil Adams finishes the story. So that's pretty freaking cool. So I wanted to get it where it actually had the cover as well.
Matt says trades are great, but having the actual issue, I'm there with you. I much prefer having the original floppies, but when they have cool trades where they add extra stuff or forwards, then I kind of might pick them up.
Yep, I agree. And then I got I had some holes, Dennis, in my Master of Kung Fu collection. Now I have some Paul Galassi stuff, but I really like the Mike Zeck stuff. So I'm filling in the holes in Mike's run. 93, 95, and 96 I picked up. And these were $1 a piece. So how could I say no? And issue 96, very first professional ink job by John Beatty over Mike Zeck on the cover.
That's awesome.
On the cover. So there you go.
I did get to talk to John at the convention. We chatted for quite a while. I know. I was supposed to say hey from him. So, hey, John said hey. Cool.
And then a guy I picked up some sketch covers from, blanks, because he was selling them at cover price, had a stack. I'm not kidding. A stack of these books about this high. And they were $5 a piece. And they weren't even in bags and boards. But when you bought it, he gave you one. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have that. That's not in bad shape either.
No, it's actually great. I was really impressed to see that.
$5. $5 for Shogun Warriors #1. He had a big stack. I'm like, I don't have it. Herb Trimpe, you damn right. Now I got it.
Love that issue. I love the whole series. Again, it's only an 18-issue run. I have them. It is worth picking up. If you like big robots, you will love Shogun Warriors.
And then something on Sunday, Dennis doesn't even know about this. So if you watched the professionals last night, you heard the story. I will repeat it. So I got this book. It's Frank Frazetta Warriors. Ooh. And you can tell it's oversized. It looks like it's 14 by 17 or something like that. And it just goes through. I don't know how many pages it is. It doesn't say. There's no page count, I should say, or numbers. But it's just great paintings. And Rich Stonke pointed out, he was sitting next to me at the show, that it's a shame that every left-hand side is blank. Well, once I actually looked through it, I understood why. Every one of these pages is perforated, so you can pull out these nice prints and frame them. Yeah.
How's the paper?
Oh, it's nice.
Oh, yeah. Now I get it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And they're great reproductions. It's signed by Frank Frazetta Jr. But here's how I got it. So at my table, I have this wooden display that sets up about this high, and it's angled that you can put like a portfolio book on, so for display. And there's a guy at my table, and we were talking, and before he walked away, he's like, "Oh, you probably don't want to leave this book out in front of your table." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He picks this up, and it was laying in front of the wooden display, so I couldn't see it. And I'm like, "Well, that's not mine." And Rich is like, it's not mine either. And I go, oh my God, somebody left that here. I said, I'm going to put it behind the table. And then I assume it's a pretty big book. The guy would go, oh, I'm missing something. Let me retrace my steps, come back and be like, hey, did you happen to see a copy of blah, blah, blah? And I'd go, this? He'd go, yeah, or she. And I'd go, you left it here. There you go. Because they had a booth set up with Rosetta stuff. Well, this thing was at my table for like 5 hours. Never came back. So what am I supposed to do? Keep it. Right? I mean, what else am I supposed to do with it?
Wow.
So I kept it. And I did tell Rich, if it was on your table, it'd be yours. But it was on mine. So
wow, snap.
That's the way it goes. So it was a good show for many other reasons too.
Wow. That's a cool book though.
It is. I haven't even had a chance to go through the whole thing yet. It's really cool. I guess the first one he did was called, because that's number 2. Aaron has the first one, which I think he said is called Monsters, if I remember right. So I don't know, but there you go. Can Andy give us a Bruce Lee war cry? No, not really. I don't even know what that sounds like, actually. I can kind of hear it in my head, but not enough. So, yeah. So there you go. So now we can move
on to bigger, better things. Guys, we have a great guest in today. And it was previewed from Wisconsin with a really cool story. So without further ado, let's bring in Darin Wagner,
creator of Demi-Foot. What's up, Darin?
Hey, Darin.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Of course. How are you?
I'm doing just peachy keen here. This is great to be on this show. I've been watching it for months.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Is it still snowing in Wisconsin?
No, it's not.
Is it above 50 degrees in Wisconsin?
It is 62 degrees Fahrenheit right now.
Oh my God. I literally was joking. I thought for sure it'd be at least in the 70s or 80s out there. It's only 62.
62 where I'm at, yeah.
Nice. God, I kind of wish I was there.
Randy says respect the beard. See, you already got your first compliment on the beard.
I got to ask now, because I know we're not going to give away the exact city you're in, of course, but I'm assuming it does get warmer than that in the summer.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, it'll get into the high 90s. The thing is, though, that some years the humidity off the Great Lakes can make it feel like you're in South Vietnam in July and August. But of course, in January, it gets down to 30 below at night. Yeah. So yeah, so we have all the extremes.
You don't have lake flies. That is the one part of being that far west. You don't have to deal with Lake Winnebago's ridiculous lake flies, which literally came out the week I was up visiting my mother in Fond du Lac. There they were, as if on cue. I was like, yep, we picked the wrong week to come up. Had to wash my vehicle 3 times just while visiting. Oh my God.
Yeah, we get mayflies in May, obviously, and they're all along the Mississippi River. But yeah, the Lake Winnebago lake flies are horrendous.
Are they huge? Are they big?
No, they're
tiny. Yeah.
Oh. But they're like this big. But I've got pictures when we grew up. We had a big white house, and you couldn't even see it was white. It was gray because it was all flies. You could go out there with the hose and hose them all off, come back out an hour later, and it's completely filled again.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. It's gross.
Just think of the money you could have made if you could have came up with some type of thing to keep them away.
Yeah, me.
From the house.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or anybody. Still waiting on that because obviously it's still a thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get on it.
DNR won't do that. Won't let you.
Pat. Anyhow. You're new to our channel. You've never been on before as a guest, so we're going to treat you like we do all newcomers, with no respect, and start off with the interview portion of the show before we get on to Demi-Foot.
So the 2 parts that we always ask is, one, you got into comic books somehow, so that means you bought comic books. So do you remember the first comic book you either bought or were given, and you still have it? And then part of that is your origin story. So let's start with the comic book. So
first one
the first book.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. No, the first one I was given was Incredible Hulk Annual number 8, where the Hulk fought Walter Lankowski's Sasquatch And
that's a great one.
Yeah, and the reason why my mom bought it for me was because the Incredible Hulk TV show had come out, and that was the first, like, I never seen any, I was when it came out, and I'd never seen any monster movies or any obviously any horror shows, so I was terrified of Lou Ferrigno's Hulk, and she kind of gave me that to take the edge off. And of course, I'm looking at the cover thinking that the Sasquatch that he's fighting is the $6 million man Sasquatch, right?
Yeah.
So you imagine my shock. I open it and I'm like, oh, it's this other guy. It's like, and then the first one I bought with my own money was Incredible Hulk 255, Hulk versus Thor, Sal Buscema, and I can't remember the anchor offhand, but yeah, and that was my introduction to Thor too. So you're seeing a pattern here. I got into comics because of the Hulk and Superman. Superman the movie obviously was another one that got me into it as well. So, and that just took off from there.
I'm with you with those Hulks. When people ask, I think everybody, depending on when they grew up, obviously has, if you say, who's your Captain America artist? Who's your, Hulk artist? Well, for me, the Hulk artist was Sal Buscema, because that's when I got into it. Then obviously, and that's when I started buying it. I bought a big run of it. And then, of course, you go to back issues, Herb Tramp, and, fast forward, and, the other artists, Todd, Dale, whatever. But to me, it's Sal. And, and I had that annual. I remember it vividly because I was a huge Alpha Flight guy. So seeing him fight Sasquatch.
Yeah, me too. Love Alpha Flight. So, great book. That is a great book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody drew people getting punched like Sal Buscema. The Sal Buscema punch is it never gets old. He'll do variations of it, and it's just always so fun to see somebody reeling back like that towards you.
Oh, totally. And that's the thing I miss about modern day comics is you don't see that because people are trying to get too grounded. I think.
I know. It's awful.
And and that's not what comics are, And I'm not saying you can't do that grounded type of stuff and make it look dynamic. You can, because some artists have, but most don't.
Right.
And I prefer the over the top stuff, where you punch somebody in the gut and you don't see the fist, you don't see the gut, you just see the burst lines. Going towards it to show the power of it and stuff. I love that shit. It's freaking comics.
Yeah. So you started out as a Hulk fan. I'm assuming you continued being a Hulk. Are you still a Hulk fan? Do you still collect?
I'll be honest. I stopped collecting Incredible Hulk at the end of World War Hulk because I didn't see it getting any better than that at that point. And apparently now they've completely retcon isn't really the word. They've redefined the Hulk into this avatar of an entity called the One Below, or the I don't remember what exactly it is, but they've changed the whole nature of gamma radiation. So it's more like magic, and I'm just not into that. I prefer the man monster, the struggle, with your humanity and all the drama that comes with that. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the change that happened to Swamp Thing after Len Wein left the title either. With Alan Moore turning him into a plant elemental, I was like, I prefer him better when he was a transformed Alec Holland, and so and I'm not saying, it's hard for me to say that the Alan Moore retcon was bad, because obviously the character got even more successful after that. So it's just a matter of preference, and after World War Hulk, where, the Hulk finally got to, beat the tar out of Sentry, which I was very happy about, I just said, I'm done.
Yeah, I get it. I look at the book now, when it comes out, because I think Nick Klein's art is really top notch and stuff. But I'm with you. I read a couple of those, and I was just like, it's just not for me,
Right.
It's not the one I grew up with. With Swamp Thing, I read the original rights and stuff in trade paperbacks. I didn't have, that's how I discovered it. And then I got the first few issues when they relaunched it in the 80s, but I bailed off of it right around, I think it was when Tom Yates, the artist, left the books. I really liked his work. Yeah. And then, when Alan Moore took over and stuff, I think I read that first issue, and it just, once again, it just got a little too weird and stuff. I was like, yeah, it's just not my cup of tea. So.
Yeah, Swamp Thing was a huge one too. I for me, inspiration for various things that we'll talk about a little bit later. But when I was a kid, Nickelodeon was brand new, right? And there was a show on Nickelodeon called Video Comics, and it was made. It was a Canadian production, and it opened the opening credits for two kids on their dirt bikes riding to the across country to a little drugstore where they had a spinner rack, right? Which is how I got my comics too. There was a liquor store 1 mile south of my house that I would get 1 week's worth of comics, because spinner racks came out once a week, or once a month rather, and then a drugstore a mile in the opposite direction from my house where I would get other ones, and so that's how kids got their comics back then usually, and. Anyway, Video Comics would go panel by panel, and then it was kind of like those old Power Records comics, right? Where they had like radio people doing the voices and reading what was in the word balloons and stuff. And I remember the best one was Swamp Thing because it was so different than the other ones. Video Comics didn't spend time on Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman. They talked about the other ones like Flash, Adam Strange, the Atom, and Swamp Thing. So that was sort of my introduction to Swamp Thing, and that's one of the reasons why I prefer the one that I prefer. But
That'd be cool. Well, hey, I'm going to do a quick plug, guys. Go to my YouTube channel for a reason. He brought up Power Records, and I do have the Peter Pan, the Power Records. I collect them, and I do full readings of all the ones that I have and go through them page by page with the original album or LP. So I've got them with both the 45s and the 33s. So if you guys want to know what they are because you're young and you don't know what they are, or if you're old like us and you want to relive some of your childhood, go check out the playlists. I have a book and record playlist set up in there for you guys to be able to go and do that with. Back to you, Darin.
Nice set.
Thank you. So, after the spinner racks went away, there was a point in time where, the comics they were retracted from as a mass media item, and suddenly I had no place to buy them. So I had to rely on the Marvel subscription service. And I don't know if you ever
I did
dealt with that. For about 2 years I had the Hulk and decided to get Amazing Spider-Man for some reason. He's never been a favorite of mine, but I got Amazing Spider-Man.
So, Darin, were yours at the air when you were getting them? Were they folded in half at that time, or did yours come when they were flat?
They were supposed to be shipped flat, but they often were not. They came in a like a brown paper bag sleeve.
Yeah, it was just the sleeve. It wasn't
just the sleeve.
Yeah, it's open on both sides. Yeah, I don't think you obviously subscribed at some point
for a little bit.
Is it because did you have one of those small mailboxes on your house where they had to fold it?
Nope.
Oh. Yeah, because mine were in the brown sleeves.
It was cheaper to mail them, that's why.
In the brown sleeves.
Yeah.
Right.
But so mine was in the brown sleeve, but our mailbox was it was attached to the brick of the house right next to the front door, and it was the same shape as like a letter envelope, except, a little wider, and it was probably 4 inches deep, yay high. And if it was magazines or whatever, he wouldn't like fold it to where it's like, I gotta make it fit, fold, crease. He would just push it in. So every one I got kind of, had a roll to it. So when I took it out, I had to flatten it. But if it was raining or something, because we didn't have like an awning or anything, I'll forget it.
Yeah. Towards the end of that 2-year period, they started putting them in baggies with a backer board, but the backer board was not stiff. It was like just barely able to qualify as a backing board,
It was slightly thicker than paper.
It was. It was, because I subscribed to 2 points of my life. In the early 80s, and that was the brown paper thing. And then right around 2000, we moved to Tampa. So, because I was going to work for CrossGen, and I was just like, you know what? I kind of miss subscribing. So I picked the book. I think it was X-Men at the time. And I was like, I'm subscribed to it. And part of me thought, you know, oh, it'd be cool if it showed up that way. I don't think I ever expected it to, because, I mean, it was almost 20 years later. But it did. It showed up in a plastic clear bag. And then it had, yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't like a board, because at least in the one I got, it was, you know, the address and everything was printed on it as well.
So Randy's saying in the early days, didn't they used to put an address sticker directly on the comic? Not that I remember. If they did, it was right at the very early. It would have been pre me doing it, but I've not seen, you know, even secondary, even at the conventions, I've never seen one directly on. So I could be wrong. Chat, if I am wrong or we are wrong, just pop it up there and let us know.
Yeah, I know Shelton Drum, who's the guy that runs Heroes Con. He is, what is he? He's probably 14, I think like 14 years older than us.
Yeah.
And he subscribed when he was young. And he still has all the brown paper sleeves.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, I wish I could have done that.
I know, that is cool. Stripling, it was great seeing you this weekend.
Yeah, I wish I would have kept them, but I didn't have the foresight to do that. So
yeah, it was a cool thing. So origin story. So Darin, how did you get involved into actually doing comics then?
Well, I met a few artists when I was going to university who wanted to break in. I graduated high school right when Image Comics blew up. You know, they were still being published by Malibu. Everybody wanted to be, you know, a Rob Liefeld or a you know, an Eric Larson or whatnot, and so it started there. But I didn't actually make any headway until after I dropped out of university, joined the Navy, and qualified for the submarine program. And so I was stationed in Groton, Connecticut, on a submarine called Trepang, which I'm wearing the shirt here. I don't know if you.
Oh, nice!
That's cool.
Yeah, and I was a sonar operator and or sonarman or sonar technician, as it's officially called. So I did that for 4 years, and I came out of there with a huge can-do attitude, and ended up going to a convention in Minneapolis when I got home, where I met a few professionals there. One of them was Clint Holinsky, who is still in the scene here, and. He and I hit it off, and we decided to submit a book to Image together, and it didn't make the Image cut, mostly because we were doing it was called Hyperactives, and it was sort of an homage to the first generation of team books.
I remember that. It did get published eventually, because I think I owned it.
Yeah, it got published eventually by Alias Entertainment, which was at the time was Mike S. Miller and Brett Berner's company,
right?
And but yeah, at the time we were submitting it to Image, and the EIC at that time was Eric Larson, and Eric was really interested in moving that company forward, and so he was interested in pirate books. He was interested in comics like Girls, you know, I don't know if you remember that one, the Luna Brothers and stuff like that. So a throwback like what we were doing. It amused them, but it wasn't something he was looking for. So he took a pass on it, and we eventually got it published. And then I kind of receded after a while there. The Marvel at the time was a little bit harder to break in. I think that was when Bendis and his friends were kind of taking over Marvel, and they were tying up all the little characters throughout the universe for their initiative storyline. And so, you know, this idea where you could submit a Jack of Hearts story or something, and maybe they'll put it in, you know, Marvel Comics Presents, that was all drying up. So I went back to my first career before the Navy, which was a news writer. I went to work for my hometown newspaper, The Countryman, and until that went away, and then here we are. Clint, I noticed Clint was doing some work in crowdfunding, and I said, well, okay, let's try this again. So that's where I'm here.
Hey, real quick, back to the sub thing, because that stuff just fascinates me. What was your longest, I guess, deployment where you were on the sub for the longest?
In 1997, I was underwater 10 of the 12 months of that year. We had a 6-month Mediterranean deployment, and then we did several ops in the other months of that year. As far as the longest stretch where you're underwater, it was supposed to be 3 months, but it ended up being 3 months, 3 weeks. Because another boat that was supposed to relieve us had their moisture evaporator break, and they had to get it repaired before they could come out. So we were out there an extra 3 weeks longer. So that was
wow.
Yeah,
I did not go stir crazy.
They screen you for that. There's all kinds of things. It's weird. It's kind of like that Joseph Heller Catch-22 sort of book where, you have to be crazy to want to be on one, but then in order to be able to get on one, you have to prove you're not crazy, and then once you're on board, you have to not go crazy. So, it's kind of weird that way. But there's certain kind of people that are just better suited for that kind of duty than others. And every time we had Marines or we had Rangers or SEALs on board, particularly the Rangers, they couldn't wait to get off that thing. The thing it creeped them out. You don't join the Army so you can go on a submarine. It's just kind of you like those wide open spaces, and the Marines were able to adapt as they always do. The SEALs, they were on board and we didn't even know they were there. They would hide in places that we didn't know about. It was weird. It was almost like they were less like soldiers and more like Jedi Knights. It was weird. It was just I'd have to do some maintenance on a valve because it was making some noise that we could hear in our sonar, sonar system. So I go back there and I'm like, and way back there, I don't know how the hell he got back there. He was between the torpedo tube and the bulkhead. And here's this SEAL back there reading a paperback novel with a flashlight back there. And it's like, that's what they do, man.
I guess that's better than seeing him back there and he's painting his face and he has his knife out and he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
We've got a friend of the family who he became civilian and then would go on the boat launches and the sub launches and go underneath and test everything out. He would report back what needed to change. So it was deployments, such great stories and stuff like that. And it's funny. My brother was Navy and my brother-in-law, and every boat he was on got retired. So it was like a running joke, but love the sub guys. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. My boat Trepang was. I describe it the same way that Captain Picard describes the Stargazer, his first command. It was an overworked, underpowered vessel. And we kept it working really well until that last year. Every time we took it out, something somewhat important would break. But no, they kept out the Sturgeon class. They kept around longer because there were still some things that boat class could do that the newer ones couldn't do as well. They were better for under ice operations. They were better for general surveillance, periscope depth operations, things like that. So not that the new ones like the Los Angeles at the time the Los Angeles was the new hotness, but now those are rickety old things now in the service. I served in the 90s, so but
still all new subs, right, at that time.
Oh yeah. There's been talk about the U.S. getting back into diesels, but and honestly, for when it comes to coastal defense, you really can't beat a diesel. I'll be honest. The reactor is really good for projecting power, but if you're only doing a coastal defense thing, a diesel runs off its battery. How much noise does a battery make?
Right.
Very, very little. So
And if you guys want to see how that works, I recommend highly watching Down Periscope, a great diesel versus nuclear sub exercise.
That is actually, people think I'm shitting them. That is the most accurate submarine movie based in terms of plot, because we've done that. We've reactivated old diesels for war game exercises. Not quite that old, but still, but we've done it. So yeah,
it's a good movie. Oh, that's funny. The closest I've gotten is in Manitowoc. I'm a scoutmaster. We stayed overnight on the Cobia. I've stayed over on a couple of the subs, but because they were a CPAP, I got to stay in the XO's quarters. So I was kind of happy about that, where the other plebes were all all racked up. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but I came home from the Navy, finished my degree at University of Wisconsin, and that's right around the time that I met Clint. We did hyperactives, and you can still probably see some images. Once in a while, I'll post an image from that comic on Twitter.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah,
that was
that was my first time I saw Clint's work, I believe. So
yeah,
he did. And I was going to say last sub question, and then we'll go to the campaign. How tall are you?
Fine. I'm short. People don't know this, but the people of Wisconsin actually settled the Shire.
Not this guy. Well, your instinct proves you did, but your height.
Yeah, no, I am. When I was younger, I was 5'8". I'm probably closer to 5'7" now as I've gotten older.
So you didn't really bang your head a lot in this stuff.
No, we had a guy though. We had a guy on board who was 6'8". And there were only like 2 or 3 places on board where he could stand fully erect.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was kind of interesting, because when you're that tall, and there's Navy has a policy where if you want to get off subs, no questions asked.
Yeah.
You can, he had some problems. There was the beds on a submarine are called racks, and they're basically shelves. There wasn't a rack big enough for him to sleep comfortably, and so a lot of times for certain ops, what they'll do is they'll put extra temporary berthing or bedding in the torpedo room. He would always go down there because he had more room in those than he did with the built-ins. So yeah.
But in the torpedo room, what's that then? Just sleeping on the floor? I mean,
what they do.
They have racks.
There are. Yeah. Okay. So what they would do is they would basically take the 2 ventral torpedo tubes off service, and then all of the torpedoes that were lined up for that tube get taken off, and then they put the racks in there.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you're not expecting, again, this was peacetime too. You got to remember, the '90s was the era of Bill Clinton. If we were doing something where we weren't expected to run into any sort of hostility, then that was fine. Trepang was mostly a surveillance platform when I was on board. The Cold War was over, in the '90s. So we did other things. But yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about Demi-foot. If you want to pull it up, we'll share the screen as you talk about it and stuff, and get into Demi-foot and how you came up with it and all that fun stuff. There it is.
Yeah. Let me grab. Okay. Here we go.
So give us the rundown. How'd you come up with Demi-foot? And
Demi-foot Urban Sasquatch was originally going to be a novel. Simply, and the working title was called Urban Sasquatch, and initially it was about a rogue male Sasquatch who wanders into a city and then takes up residence in the park and doesn't go away. And as I started writing it, something was missing. I wasn't satisfied with it. It didn't feel like I owned it, and I really wanted to get inside the character's mind. And because I've been doing cryptozoology research in my spare time for years. I've listened to hundreds of testimonials and from eyewitness accounts and things like that. And one of the things that you get that you take away from them is that the Sasquatch is it doesn't have an inner monologue. It's not like a lot of us. They're very deliberate. They only think about 2 seconds ahead, and I couldn't. get into a mind of something like that. And so I started thinking, I'm going to put this aside for a moment and come up with a little bit different idea. And part of it, I think, came from me watching an old 1958 horror movie that a lot of people have heard of but never watched, called "I Was a Teenage Werewolf" with Michael Landon.
Oh yeah.
And in that movie, he's a werewolf, but he's not really a werewolf. He changes because of something that happens to him during a hypnosis session. And I'm like, well, that's kind of off the wall. He's not, he doesn't have the curse and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it started loosening up my rigidness when it came to this concept. And I said, what if? And then there's another thing that kept coming up every time in my thoughts. I said, if a human being could do all the things a Sasquatch could do, they'd actually be a pretty effective superhero. And that's when it clicked. I said, I'm going to make a character who is a human being who has been given Sasquatch characteristics, the physicality of them. Still a human being, but if you ran into this guy and you didn't know, you weren't a Sasquatch nerd like some of us, you would say, that I ran into a Sasquatch. A cryptozoologist would say, well, I'm sorry, but he's big, and yes, but he doesn't have the right kind of feet. He does, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so so what I did was I then went to John Dillard, a friend of mine,
Yeah.
who creator of The Buckler and a few other things. And I said, I got this idea. I want you to, and we worked on this design. And I said, I have this idea of a big muscle-bound monster in Navy issue UDT diver shorts. And I kind of want him to have a human hairstyle. I want him to have an executive contour haircut. My grandfather was a barber in a small town in Minnesota, so I was familiar with all of the little boy haircuts. The butch, the hiney, the flat top, the the duck's butt, all that kind of stuff, and stuff that
you need that.
Do not need that.
I don't even know what that is, but I want Dennis to get it.
All these hairstyles that kids don't really use anymore, and so we started designing this character, and I gave him the same sort of edict that I remember in an interview with Stan Lee. Stan Lee said that when he was creating the Hulk with Jack Kirby, he said, Jack, I need you to create a monster, but he has to be a good-looking monster. He can't be so horrible that the audience would fail to empathize with him. And
right.
So of the monster heroes that have been the most successful, I think those are the ones that adhere to that the most. So, for example, as much as we all love Man-Thing has never been quite as popular as Swamp Thing, and I think one of the reasons why is because Swamp Thing was a little more handsome.
Yep.
Venom, I think, was the same way. As a monster hero, he didn't really work because he was too horrible.
Right.
But they made a movie about him anyway, so I might have to rethink that. But anyway, so he started designing this character, and it started coming together really well. And so what Demi-Foot Urban Sasquatch is a 24-page old-fashioned comic book read. I'm purposefully mimicking how comics used to be. The 22-page format is a format that I really believe in. It was the sweet spot for many years. I think the 22 to 24 page format lasted longer than any other format in comics. I think that I remember in the 70s you'd get ones that were 18 pages, and sometimes they go up to 32, and it was just and then they settled on that. And when I started writing comic book scripts, one of the books that I had read in prep for that was Denny O'Neill's Writing Comics, where he talks about that, and it's just how I write. When I write comics, I always write it in 22 to 24 page increments. You make sure that if this is the let's say this is the only story or part of the story that a customer gets, they still need to be satisfied with what they've got, right? Mm-hmm. I read some comics where it just feels like a chapter in a longer story, and I don't feel like I got my storytelling money's worth out of it. So this is where I'm at. And I know that the rest of the Comics Geek community, their success has been in the 66 page format, and I'm not arguing with that at all. But Problem is, most of y'all are artists. You get to make the pages yourself, you know, so I can't do that. I have to pay an artist to do it. And so 22 to 24 pages was the format that made the most sense for this project. But anyway, as you can see here on this page, preview page, Demifoot, we've got him in silhouette here because I wrote this to where we gradually reveal what he looks like throughout the issue. So in these first pages, he's in silhouette. Now, of course, the backers need to know what this character looks like. You can't expect the backers to back it if they don't know what they're backing. So that's why I sort of spoil what he looks like on this page. But that's why he's in silhouette here. He, you know, cracks open a keg of beer and drinks it, which no human being could possibly do. This is all reminiscent visually also of, and maybe Dennis will recognize this guy, the Crusher, a pro wrestler from Milwaukee who famously carried a keg of beer out to the ring with him. That's kind of where this we're kind of channeling this here, and the town that he's in is a brewery town, so it's gonna, you know, you're gonna see a lot of beer stuff here. But yeah, this character is designed to not just fight other monsters like him, other cryptid-inspired monsters, but he's also going to eventually be fighting bona fide supervillains and encountering some superheroes as well. And this image here that I'm showing on the screen is an homage to Incredible Hulk 314 by John Byrne. This was going to be the first issue cover, but then I realized I didn't really want an homage cover for my first issue cover. I wanted to make, you know, so John Dillard and I came up with the cover that you saw earlier of him lifting the truck, his anvil of Crom moment, you know, like from the Conan movie where he's lifting the cauldron of human soup. You know, it's such a great moment. But no, this is just an example of the cast that we'll be introducing as time goes on. So, you know, this is a well thought out thing. I've got scripts going to 14 issues right now. We have to get this first one. We have to get this first one off the ground, and you know, this is where we're at. The character
John is the artist on the inside.
John Dillard is the artist on the inside. Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And also, we were going to have him be the artist on the sole cover. I kind of naively thought I only want one cover for the first issue, because if you have more than one cover, then you don't really have an iconic cover. But that I was thinking about normal publishing and not crowdfunding. So in the coming weeks, I will be announcing a new cover available on this campaign that I think a lot of people are going to want. I can't say too much more than that, though.
Oh.
So yeah. But anyway, this character is Jake Yeager. He is a U.S. Navy diver who had a compression accident, and that messed up his joints. And so he's been discharged from the Navy, goes back to his hometown, where we find out that he is one of the few heirs of a lumber baron dynasty in Wisconsin. And so he's sort of like the Bruce Wayne of this little town,
right?
This little city. And one thing leads to another. Shenanigans ensue, and he becomes cursed / blessed with the physicality of a Sasquatch. Everybody thinks he's dead, and now he has to find his way in this world as something no human being has experienced. And this brings him into contact with quasi-government organizations who are trying to keep the existence of cryptids the stuff of hoaxes and legends. And so obviously, if you've got this guy running around who's sort of like almost like a missing link, that's a problem. And so, you know, you've got all this stuff going on. But this comic is going to have things in it that no one's ever seen before. One of my goals here was to have Wisconsin doesn't have many superheroes, okay? There's Mike Barron's got the Badger, obviously, probably the biggest one. I think the Great Lakes Avengers also qualifies because they're all in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I wanted to give the state something, back here a little bit. So, I forgot what I was going to say. But no, the artwork here, Dillard is purposefully trying to do a lot of great hatching and cross hatching to try to get that Wrightson-esque feel to it.
Yeah.
When the character first
that's a cool splash page. I assume that's after he changed, because he changes back and forth, right?
He does not.
Oh, he doesn't. Oh,
he does not. No, he's for the time being. I am playing around with the idea of coming up with a way for him to change back and forth, but it has to be different than who.
Yeah.
And
of course, yeah.
and so I'm working on that. But for right now, he's more like the Thing or Swamp Thing. He is stuck this way. He's stuck in a form that is 6 foot 11, 999 pounds, and black eyes and all that stuff. This image in particular I like a lot, because when he emerges after his transformation, he looks in the mirror, and as I mentioned earlier, he was in the service, and one of the things that's very important when you're in the service, they drill it into you, is grooming. You want to keep your hair short, you want to keep your hair under control, that kind of thing. And so he, sort of out of act of desperation, grabs a Flowbee and some pomade and styles his hair to try to make himself look normal. Of course, it doesn't work, and he's but that's one of the things that he does. In
I
the
love
comic.
that.
I know.
Yeah.
I kind of think in normal everyday life, you should want to be well kept, cleanly coiffed and stuff with your hair. I think that's what men do.
Yeah.
Dennis.
Oh yeah.
Dennis has his musketeer outfit. Does that count as a Wisconsin superhero? It does, because when we go down to Bristol, it's I'm eating my cheese fritters. So yes, that does count. Thank you.
Now, one of the things that we were offering on this campaign is this Dan Lawless cover of Heidi Blackhawk. She is not featured in the first issue, however, she will be in the second issue. She is what you would call the love interest of the title. She's a Menominee Indian. And I'm sure Dennis recognizes that tribe, or at least parts of that tribe. She's a fusion of Potawatomi and Menominee, and so she's there.
Both with great casinos.
Yes, they have outstanding casinos. But yeah, Dan Lawless, the flawless Dan Lawless, made this card for me. He also made another one that I'll show earlier, but that one is unavailable. That there is an exclusive for the people who backed within the first 24 hours, and I'll show that one a little bit later.
Cool.
But one that everybody can get is also this one. This is the Jumbo Javelin trading card. This is the first illustration that Dillard did of Demifoot in action, and I had him ripping the engine out of an AMC Javelin.
Yeah, that's
AMC. Yep.
That's a very well drawn car. I noticed that. Did he color that too?
Yeah, he's our colorist too.
Oh man, that was great.
He's doing
nice
bang up work here. Yeah, these were pages that he did in between pages he was doing for Mighty Golden Patriot. So it was kind of funny. He'd get tired of drawing desert and and mechs and all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, here, why don't you do a page of Demifit? And he's like, oh, thank you. So he gets to break it up a little bit,
Oh, wow,
but yeah. So we have a T-shirt, we have a lunchbox. If you're interested in that, there's also some great tiers where you can get packages of this. And let me go ahead and play the safe for other people's channels trailer. Here.
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's do that here. We'll share this tab instead. And
911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was, just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it. But whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sure.
See ya.
Hello?
somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right.
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Oh, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what. It's a big, real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big. But he's all in black.
Is he a black male or a white male? Did you actually see whether, or was he just wearing black?
He's all black and he's big. He is big.
Oh, cool.
There we go.
Oh, that's cool.
I like that.
How'd you do the voiceover stuff? Did you get some friends, or what is that? That's cool.
That is actual audio recording of a 911 call
Of a Bigfoot?
of a Sasquatch. Yes.
No way. From how long ago was that?
I think it was from 1997.
No shit. Did you find that on like what, YouTube or some shit? How'd you find that?
Yeah, that's a call that has been analyzed by a lot of cryptozoologists and psychologists and things, because the guy clearly doesn't want to say what it is, even though he kind of knows what it is, because
Right.
he's afraid that if he says it to the dispatcher, they're not going to send anybody out.
Right.
And,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Bob
that's
Gimlin's
cool.
analyzed that recording. So has a whole bunch of other famous people in the Sasquatch community. So it's out there. I decided to make a trailer around it and just sort of bend it to my needs here. So,
That was fun. That was a fun trailer. I like that.
So Sasquatches are big and tall. Would you say a Sasquatch has a short inseam?
well, I know that Demifoot.
Like, do they have stubby legs?
Well, their arms are proportionally longer than a human being's arms in comparison to their legs. So there is that. I mean, I mentioned that Demifoot wears Navy issue UDT diver shorts. They have a 2-inch inseam. So
God, that's like your inseam.
Just
yeah.
stop.
Dennis's inseam is so short. Now it's not 2 inches, but I'm wearing shorts now that have like a 10-inch inseam, and that's like pants for Dennis. So
Oh man.
he does. He has these very.
Poor guy.
If his legs were in proportion to his upper body, his head would touch my ceiling. And I have
He's
standing.
implying I'm a Sasquatch. For those of you not picking up on,
No, I'm implying you have
watch it.
short baby legs.
Yeah.
It's like Deadpool when he was growing
Yeah.
back his lower body.
Yeah.
Wow. He's sitting in a chair right now, and his feet dangle. They don't even touch the floor. It's crazy.
Okay, hold on a second here. I wanted to.
And to review, how many pages is the book again?
It's 24 pages. Yeah.
Okay. And is that what's your fulfillment date looking like? What are you shooting for?
Well, I wanted to start fulfilling this coming fall. However, we are, as I did have it up there, but we're at about 40% filled,
Right.
funded right now. We need a total of 8,000. We're not there yet. So it's slow going. I've gotten a lot of help from Comicsgate. A lot of help. Ethan had me on Comicsgate Live for the launch. Mandy had me on. Yeah. But it's tough when you're a newbie to this kind of stuff,
Sure.
So I understand why it's a struggle. For me, I have to make my goal the actual goal, as opposed to somebody like I won't name any names, but the typical thing is that the artist will come in and set the goal at $500 and then just go from there. And so unfortunately I can't do that. I have to.
No, it's understandable. I mean, hey, crowdfunding it's a job, man. It is a full-time freaking job, and it's a lot of work and stuff. So just get, it's like pounding the pavement. You know, you just got to get the word out. And trust me, if there was some secret sauce to it, I would share it with the world. But,
I'm sharing an image here. This is the.
Hold on. I just saw that. Okay, let me see.
Yep. Okay, so this is the original image that when I was describing the character to John Dillard, this is what he drew, and this is what we pretty much what we came up with, and Art T. Bear, I love him. He said this looks like Sasquatch with it going in for a job interview. Is what he said. But this is kind of what I wanted, because there were a bunch of things that came into my mind when I was trying to design this character. One of them was, if you remember, Dale Keown got to do something that a lot of very few Hulk artists get to do. He got to create visually a brand new version of the Hulk that nobody had seen before, and that was the merged Hulk, where he took the best elements of Banner and the classic green and then the gray, and he combined it into and that was one of the images that came in my head, because I remember that Hulk was a little bit taller than the standard one, because he had better posture, and then he had hair that was like a normal person's haircut, and there was another image that came in my head of when Rick Jones was the Hulk for a little while under Todd McFarlane, and they gave him John Bon Jovi hair. I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh, I was, I'm a visual guy, so when you first said Rick Jones, it wasn't hitting, and then you said that, and I got it.
Yeah.
And same with the Dale Keown one. The Dale Keown one, I think I remember the splash page. Was the splash page him standing there? Was he in front? Was Betty in front of him, kind of looking up like, what? Yeah.
The Honey I'm Home page. Yeah, the Honey I'm Home page. And it was like, I remember we saw that. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of a Dale Keown fanboy, so I don't want to glow too much about that. But
no. So I love Dale's work.
That one kind of reminds me, if you took Sasquatch and $6 Million Man Colonel Steve Austin and melded them to, that's Colonel Steve Austin's head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of $6 Million Man in this comic too. It's just a fusion of so many different things, and people who get this comic are going to see things they haven't seen before. I was saying in this earlier. I mentioned the AMC Javelin earlier. We decided that every car that you see in this comic, for the most part, at least the good guy cars, are all AMC vehicles, because kids today don't even know what an AMC vehicle is. They hear AMC, they think of a theater chain. They don't even know, they don't know about the cars. And of course, if you're from Wisconsin, you know that there was the heart and soul of AMC was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. It was a point of state pride that you owned at least one of those cars. And, so the car that Jake Yeager drives in the first issue is an AMC AMX, which my dad had one, sports car.
Nice.
And
his first car was an AMC.
When did those go out? In the 70s? They didn't make it to the 80s, did they?
The AMC officially went away in 1987.
Yep. Oh, shit. I didn't think it made it that far.
Yeah. They were bought by Renault. Renault, whatever their name was, a French company, and they and then let me go ahead and share another image here. The Chrysler bought Renault because they wanted the Jeep line. AMC made Jeeps. Why is it? Sorry for the pause.
My buddy from school used to go around, and he had a Pacer.
I remember Pacers.
The bubble car was awesome.
Yep.
Well, there's a Pacer in the first couple pages. So it's
that's awesome. Oh, look at that, Randy. The AMC Pacer, the fishbowl car. Yep.
It
sure was.
I remember that car.
Then he hit a big boulder.
So this is the Dan Lawless trading card that people the heroes.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
The heroes who backed this campaign in the first 24 hours will get that trading card as well. But Lawless understood the assignment. I think
that turned out fantastic. Yeah, I remember.
That's right up Dan's alley too.
Yeah. I mean, he even got the eyes right where they're black and you can, barely see them and such. And each artist has a little bit different interpretation of what an executive contour haircut is, but that's okay. I don't mind when an artist tries to make the character his own. But no, this is outstanding, and I plan on doing more little things like this in the future, not just with this campaign, but with the next one and the one after that. Things like that.
Well, guys, go back. Demifoot, Urban Sasquatch. It looks cool. And let's help them get it across the finish line.
So everybody, if you're on YouTube or Rumble, all the links are directly down below. You can just go ahead and click on them and take you there. If you are on X, Randy and all the awesome moderators, they are popping the links into the comments section. So you guys, no matter what format you're going to watch this, either live or probably later, just check down below, click on it, go right to it, and support Darin and John in this really cool looking venture.
Yeah, and of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Lilith, Infernal Conflict. I'm working on pages 38 and 39, a 2-page spread. You can almost call it the climax.
You're welcome, everybody.
But it's not the end of the story. It's just pages 38 and 39. There is more. But working on that. But guys, go check it out. The best deal on the campaign is the collector's box, where you get the main cover, the homage cover, John Malin's cover, the foil cover, the black and white edition, a brand new First Man story, a 2-inch Lilith figure, and exclusive to the box only, John Malin's cover in black and white with no logo or anything, and a beautiful Usurcia bookmark showing off her gorgeous figure. And of course, check it out. The link's in the description below. You can read the first 10 pages, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages of the book. So you know what you're in for. And of course, we have, I believe, 2 copies left of the retro edition, where it's printed on newsprint. It's stapled. It's going to have that great newsprint smell. It's flatter color, distressed looking cover for those that like their books in mint condition but look a little beat up. And it comes signed and numbered with a certificate of authenticity. And that is limited to 100 copies. There's a couple left. So go check that out. Look at the great add-ons, minifigures, things like that. The First Man comic, throwback to great 90s action. And, we're shooting at 40. Everybody will get a nice 3-inch magnet of the homage cover at 55,000, and that is totaling both campaigns. This one in the Kickstarter, we will add a 4-page Bart Sears Wardrath story to the book. So, guys, go check that out. That link is also in the description below. So definitely go check it out. And thank you for posting the link for the Kickstarter, Randy. You are a gentleman for sure. And Darin, thanks for coming on the show today. And hopefully it helps you out with stuff.
Thanks a lot. I like Lilith. Lilith was the kind of comic that if I got caught with when I was a kid, I'd be in trouble. That's why I like it.
You had to hide it. That's right. You look at it under your sheets with a flashlight.
Right.
In one hand, and the comic in the other, of course. Thank you, Matthew. You have a great one, too. And we will catch you guys later. So thank you very much, guys. And go check out Graybeards, where I believe they're all going to try and draw women in the style of Mark Silvestri. Yep, look at that.
There it is. Thank you, Randy.
There you go, guys. All right, everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye, everybody.
Long and prosper.
That too.